Today I fucked up by making my dad look like a neo-Nazi. Like most posts here, it didn't happen today, yesterday or even last year. It happened when I was in elementary, so over 20 years ago. My dad was bald ever since I was born. He tried products but he could never grow hair on his head again, although he does sport a nice Viking beard now. At the time of this story he didn't. It also didn't help he always wore hats. In elementary I used to refer to him as a skinhead and no doubt got weird looks. I'm from New Hampshire, so a lot of people were shocked and were probably scared. Whenever anyone asked I always said my dad is a skinhead but I still love him. This continued from me in grade 1, making it up to me finding out what it meant after my dad got called from a parent complaining to him about being racist. My dad was completely confused. I asked him what's wrong and he said he's been getting weird looks lately and calls saying he's rexed. He told me I've been calling him a skinhead to people. I said yeah, it's a funny way to describe your head. He told me what it meant. By this time I was in grade 5. I was shocked, mortified at what I did to my dad's reputation. I told everyone I remember telling my dad is a skinhead, and telling them I didn't know what I was saying. I thought I was being funny, blah blah. I remembered this because I was cleaning out a cupboard I had full of my childhood memories, and on a paper saying describe your family, I wrote a sentence saying I love my dad, he is funny and I like to play with him, he is a skinhead and makes me happy. Cringed so hard, and when I showed my fiance she laughed and said how embarrassing. It is embarrassing and a memory I have to keep. TL, drive. I told everyone my dad is a skinhead and made them think he is a neo-Nazi. Edit, spelling. Thanks people who pointed it out. How can something so horrible be so wholesome? My social studies teacher asked us if we knew any countries in Africa. I boldly mispronounced Nigeria the worst way possible. FML to this day. On that note, there's an African-Irish actress I like a lot, her name is Ruth Negga. When I was a kid I assigned a Power Ranger to everyone in my family. I proudly told people my daddy is black as the pastiest white kid in existence. I've never seen cupboard spelt that way. SHARP, Skinheads Against Racial Prejudice. FART, Fathers Against Rude Television. Today I fucked up by asking my disabled neighbor if he got far on his escape from his apartment. This just happened like 5 minutes ago. I got home and ran into my downstairs neighbors, one of which is disabled and in a wheelchair. I asked them how they were doing and the man's caretaker says yeah, we're doing good, he just tried to escape. I had never met the person he caretakes for before, and his caretaker is a pretty sarcastic person, so I thought he was joking. So I respond, oh, you didn't get too far, did ya? Silence hit the air and then my neighbor responds, yeah, he really messed up his leg trying to escape. I all of a sudden realized he wasn't joking and quickly apologized. I tried to recoup my loss by saying I hope you enjoy the weather today though, as my neighbor was trying to drag his roomie back inside. Too long didn't read, asked my disabled neighbor, you didn't get far did ya? After he tried to escape and messed up his leg. Foot in mouth. Edit for clarification. This is fantastic. Now that COVID is winding down we can all look forward to more of these. I just can't separate this scenario from the Jeffrey Dahmer victim who briefly escaped. What are you doing? Don't talk to neighbors or neighbor affiliates. Reminds me of something I experienced. Took my daughter to the park and met an old classmate I had not seen in 10 years or so. Classic hello, how you doing? What you been up to all these years? Blah blah blah. I asked her, so, how many kids do you have? And she said, 3, and then I immediately replied, and 1 on the way. She covers her face with her hands, nodded and said no, I'm just fat. Shortest playground time my daughter ever had. Quick on the feet there, haha. That's hilarious. Solution is never talk too much. Most of times we don't need to say anything and it is not awkward at all. Yeah, I think you might be right. Today I fucked up by helping a handicapped elderly man to the bathroom. So this happened 2 weeks ago. Arrived at the hospital to visit a family member who was recently admitted from an injury, and was walking into reception. Shortly after signing in and walking away, An elderly man in a wheelchair stopped me and asked for help pushing him to the restroom. I happily obliged and wheeled him over. When we got there, I pushed the door open, looked at the toilet, and looked back at the elderly man. In this moment, my brain short-circuited and I blurted out, "Alrighty, can you stand?" We were both silent for a solid 5 seconds before it dawned on me what I had just asked. Thankfully, a nearby nurse saw us and took over. I awkwardly waltzed away, feeling the daggers in my back as everyone within earshot stared at me. Too long didn't read. I asked a wheelchair-bound man if he could stand up on his own in front of a lot of people. I'm in a wheelchair and can stand and walk a few meters. I always feel bad when people think I can't stand or walk because I don't want them to feel pity for me, lol. I think a lot of people just assume if you're in a wheelchair you can't walk, because if they assume you can a little bit, that might upset a lot of people. How exactly is this fucking up? Lots of people in wheelchairs can stand. Really? I had no idea. That's a relief. There are a lot of wheelchair users who have limited mobility, not no mobility. You didn't fuck up. A fuck up would have been picking him up and getting his dick out for him without asking. I know this is a bit different, but I'm sure you will still get a kick out of it. There was a fast food place I worked at where a deaf man would go to eat some days. There was a cashier in particular who knew him and how to do sign language, so he would go up there to talk with her. There was one day where someone kinda new was working and didn't realize. Warned him beforehand that he was deaf, so she would put deaf as his name for the order. Sure enough, once he got his food made, he walks over to the counter and bravely yells "deaf" out into the lobby. We just started dying laughing after he realized what he had done. That's hilarious. At least tell me this customer was only partially deaf, could use hearing aids, etc., and maybe heard that. Some people that use wheelchairs are able to stand,